Hello, it's Reg. So this time what I'm going to do is try the Mars rover again to see if we can actually land this thing without destroying it again. Like I said before, I'd landed one before, worked out quite nicely, tried it as a recording, and it failed pretty bad. I've made a couple of changes. Let's take a look at what I've done on the rocket here. Where I had an issue was when I did rather roughly land, I had some issues getting the rocket off the back. This arm got stuck on this solar panel, and this little arm here was having trouble getting it to come off because this here was actually over here, so it was actually getting stuck on this arm, and you can see that little indent in the arm. That's what it got stuck on. So I switched the arm and the solar panel around. Really, it doesn't matter which one's where. This is just to give it sort of like a little head when it's running. So I put both of the solar panels at the back side of it now, and we'll see if that works any better for us. I gave a little bit more fuel in the landing rocket as well, so I can run it more. That's why we ended up coming down a little bit hard, was I didn't want to use up all the fuel, and I didn't get it slowed down good enough. Left the parachutes, figured that's probably a good idea. The other stuff that's in this is still pretty much the same. So the rocket's all still there. If we take a look, clicking on this to see the steps here. So start all three engines. Once we burn off the outside two, we're going to disconnect them. Then we're going to separate this stage 1 from stage 2, light this rocket, turn on these thrusters, and remove the cone here. Now, I probably could remove this one earlier in the process, and maybe I'll do that. Maybe that's because what I found last time was I was in orbit for quite a ways with still having the fairing on there. So let's remove this one, and let's do this. We're going to do a fairing detachment first. So this step is going to be just that. Then I'm going to say disconnect here, light this rocket, and turn on these guys. Let's go with that. No heat shield, like I said before, because it doesn't need one. It's going to come down through by thrusters. So throttle up to full, and basically throttle up completely on this. We're going to try to get up to 1K, start swinging over like normal. So I am going to turn on the engines by hitting this little button down here, and go. So this is where you insert dramatic music at this point. Yeah, so we can start angling over. There we go. So we're at 30 degrees. We can go to 45. And let's take a look on the map where we are. Yep, so we're coming up nicely. So again, we're going pretty fast through the upper atmosphere. That's why we're heating up a little bit, but it's not going to be an issue. We're not going to be going that fast. We're just warming them up a little bit, that's all. Just waiting for the thrusters to kick off, disconnect, and eject that. And that worked well. So let's just keep going. So we're just about at the point where we can be considered in space. I'm still using a Earth thruster. That's why it's got the yellow there. So, okay, let's coast on over. Just going to adjust the angle a bit here, so we're aiming in to the direction we want to go. And again, the goal with this is just to round out the orbit. Okay. Give her. So I can see it's starting to come in or get towards the edges of the Earth. We've got good thrust. No issue as far as there goes. I may need to kick on the next engine pretty quick here. But we might actually get to orbit before that happens. Nope, not quite. So let's next stage. And we're in orbit. That was actually really good timing. Okay, let's back out and find Mars. There it is. Navigate to. Again, move around until we get to the transition window. Or transfer window. Get kind of close, but don't run it over. Again, we're just waiting for the information to change there from Earth and transfer window to escape. And then we're going to slow down our, there it goes. Nope, yep, there we go. So we have that. We can zoom back into the Earth. Look for the transfer window here. It's on the exact opposite side. There it is there. There's my rocket. The rocket's always the bigger one, so it's easy to find. Okay, let's make sure we're aimed good. Okay, let's just wait till we get there. Okay, and thrust. So, now we're on the way. Next step is to wait for that line. The line of the orbit itself to line up with that dotted line. And that's basically the path that we need to take to get to Mars. It's going to speed up this process a little bit. You can only go ×3 during the initial thrust here. Okay, so again, slow down a bit because you don't want to go whipping right on past it. Just keeping an eye on that dotted line, waiting for it to disappear. And if you've watched the other videos I've done, you've seen me do this before. But that's one thing I found in watching the spaceflight simulation videos is a lot of the people jump over a lot of the steps, and as there really isn't much of a manual for it. It's sort of a trial and error thing at first to figure it out. There it goes. It just disappeared, so I go 0 thrust, go back to Mars, zoom in on Mars, and there it is. There's my approach. And again, don't go too fast as this. Take your time. That's close enough. Right there we're going to go. Okay, back out and speed it up. So there's the Earth leaving, or the rocket leaving the Earth's orbit and doing a little slide over to Mars's orbit. You can see how when these approach happen, they usually go past a little bit, which allows it to virtually move slower than Mars, which is coming in at a closer orbit path. Okay, so there we come. Now attracted by the gravity of Mars. You see Mars doesn't have a huge gravity. It doesn't. When you do this in Jupiter, you pick up speed pretty good. Which is why they use Jupiter for doing slingshots, right? So we're going to loop around. Again, once we get to the closest in our approach to Mars, we're going to hit the thrusters again to change the to slow ourselves down so that we can get Mars to pull us into an orbit around it. Just making sure we're lined up good. I'll have to do another adjustment yet on it, but it's pretty close to a straight line though at this point in time. So we're coming in. Okay, full thrust. So we're just waiting now for the orbit to adjust, and you can see it. You can see as I'm slowing down, Mars' gravitational pull grabs onto us. There we go. Here comes the orbit. Okay, so we can see where we are. We don't want it to enter the atmosphere yet. I just want to get close. I'm also going to go in and turn off these thrusters because I noticed that sometimes minor little movements can change it. You saw in the last video how one little movement can actually move me quite a bit in our orbit. So let's spin ourselves around. Turn on the thrust, bring her, now we're into a low Mars orbit. There we go. So we can go around a couple times just to say, yep, we have an orbit. So now what we're going to do is try to land our probe again. So we still have enough fuel to do my little bit of a slowdown and get in, so that's all good. We've got a good plan coming so far here. I'm going to let myself go a little bit past Mount Olympus just to start coming down from here. Okay, let's check where we're pointing. Okay, so now we're going to give a little bit of thrust to bring the orbit so that it's actually passing into the atmosphere. So we're coming in. You can see on the far side, right there, it's now touching. And then the orbit says we will touch down there. We're going to go a little bit further. And I don't go too far with this because, as I mentioned before, if you get it so that it's too much, you end up coming in too fast. And it becomes a tent peg rather than a smooth sort of approach coming in. I might even lower myself a little bit more here before we start to come down. So I'm just going to point this way. I'm going to turn these thrusters back on and just basically I'm going to find, there we go, there's the one that brings down the altitude that we are at. Right, so if we look at where we are, I can do little adjustments on there and just slowly start to bring our orbit down. You can see the maximum height there is slowly starting to drop. I'm not going to go too far with this. I'm just going to go a little bit just to... Okay, so let's do one other thing. Let's transfer fuel from here to the other components. Just making sure, because I was burning up the air thrusters for a bit there, so... Making sure those engines aren't on. We don't want them on yet. Let's see where we are. So I'm actually going to turn myself a bit and fire my thrusters towards ground. Just burning them off now. There we go. Out of fuel. Okay, so let's turn. Disconnect. Just giving it a bit of a nudge. Turn my thruster direction of these little rockets downwards. Turning them on. Legs down. There we go. So, get ready for entry. Hopefully it's not too shallow here. In fact, I'm going to start burning them here just to slow us down a bit more. Okay, we're just about to enter the atmosphere. There we go. You can always tell when you've entered by the way it swings over. Where's that other rocket? He's away from us, I guess. Okay. Hopefully far enough. So watch the temperature. Turning my thrusters on just to start to slow us down here. hopefully we slow down enough before we hit. Temperatures are starting to come up, but they should start to slow down pretty soon here. Okay, let's drag a parachute. No. And I might pull out another one just in case I need to here too. So I'm just controlling my speed, going down. The parachute should open up even wide. Oh, there's wide open already. Okay, out of fluid. Let's transfer some. Oh, did I cut my parachute? Hey, we survived. What I was trying to do was to transfer some fuel. But let's cut this parachute. Are we broken? Did I break my rocket? Okay, so I cut that. There we go. There we go. That worked. Landed on the surface of Mars. We have a success. Just going to do a quick save on that. Okay, now we want to eject this little guy. So let's go eject. And we're going to turn on the wheels and just start driving away and see if it comes loose. Turn off those. Turn on that. Okay, let's see if raising. There we go. And drive out from under it. There we go. Yay! We've successfully deployed. Okay, let's drive a little bit further. We'll put up our camera. That's what I'm calling that in this case. Bring up my other solar cell. Okay, and off we go. So now this guy can go and travel around the surface. It does have thrusters on the bottom. So in case I find that I need, these guys down at the very bottom right here, there, and there. They don't work super, but they're okay. I can lower this solar cell in case something needs to attach on this port. Maybe I bring a little robot. That's my plan, is to make some little robot drones that go and do repairs, so he can come and connect onto the top of this thing too, if he needs to for some reason. And there we go. So now this little rocket that's sitting back here. Okay, so if I switch to this, I broke his one leg in the landing, but that's okay. Let me move this guy. Last time, as you remember, I disconnected that other one and we had an issue, so I'm just going to drive him away. Make sure there's space. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, so there's that one. Oh, there's one. I landed really close to a previous mission that I did. There's the one that's laying on its side. So yeah, there he is. Okay, so let's see if we can get him to stand up. So we're going to turn on the thrusters here. Actually, let's close that one. Is it out of fluid? I completely drained that. Oh, that's right. I drained it on the way down, didn't I? I probably could have dropped it, but this is where the parachute was attached, so yeah, I got nothing left. But one thing you can do, which is kind of weird with these things, is even though we've got... Oh, almost made it. Come on, you can do it. Just trying to get it to stand up on us. Okay, let's break this one off. Hope that didn't go too far. No, looks like we're okay. Okay, now let's see if we can get it to stand up. Nope, we've lost all of our torque. That's it, we got nothing. Even pushing the buttons does nothing now, so. Can we tell it to go away? Clear debris, but he's not really debris because he's a controllable rocket, so. There's no self-destruct on there. So, guess that's it for that guy. Let's go back over to him. I did hit it. I did hit it with that thing. It shot it off like a bullet and destroyed my rear solar cell. Okay, well. It's a good thing I really don't need it, but there it is. Okay, so there's our mission anyway. It was a successful. We have one we have a rover on Mars, so I'm going to call that successful. So, thanks for watching. Please do hit subscribe and like this one. It's kind of successful. Like this one, and if there's something you want me to try, just let me know. See, I'm not one of those 16-year-olds that can do 10,000 different things at the same time, so I'm pretty happy with the fact that I got this. So if there's something you would like to see me attempt, just let me know. We'll give it a shot. So thanks for watching.